hobbies. But the great variety of life on the sun-drenched reef has arisen by sexual reproduction, and it is sex that brings about change. Clownfish breeding is unique. On each anemone, the biggest fish in the group is always a female. She's attended by several males, and when she dies, the senior male changes sex within days and then takes over egg-laying duties. All their embryos begin life as males. A clownfish group can spawn all year round because there are no seasons to limit breeding at the equator. They lay a few hundred eggs and constantly care for the developing embryos. They're totally dedicated parents, unlike their neighbors. Out patrolling a patch of broken coral is a brightly colored mandarin fish. He displays his colors and keenness to mate, hoping to attract a female. When a female shows up, the pair engage in a brief courtship of fanning fins. This couple won't care for their young. Their strategy is mass production. As they rise, they release many thousands of eggs and sperm to mix in the water. Mandarin fish give their young a start in life, but that's all they do. The fertilized eggs are swept away on currents to distant reefs. Some as far off as Japan. Out on the reef edge are other mass spawning fish. But they also attract egg eaters like bonito. The predators gorge themselves, but the mass spawners will succeed. Surgeonfish release millions of eggs so that enough will survive to drift across the ocean and find a new reef. Many reef creatures are mass spawners, but none are as spectacular as corals. Once a year, around a full moon, an event takes place that is not only impressive, it's changing ideas about how species evolve. Corals can't move. The only way that the opposite sex can get together is mass spawning. On this one night, many closely related species spawn within a few hours of each other. Some corals produce eggs, others clouds of sperm. There are even corals that produce bundles of both. As they float away, bundles break apart, mixing with the spawn from thousands of others. Mass spawning is the only way corals can fertilize each other. And because it's sexual reproduction, the offspring will be different from their parents. And these differences are at the heart of recent scientific discoveries. At the equator, the drive to breed is matched only by the need to feed. The spawning attracts manta rays that filter the soup of eggs, and not far behind are fusiliers. Eggs will only survive if they can be rescued by ocean currents that will take them far away from the reef. Of the huge variety of corals that have spread around the equator, the acropora or staghorns are the most widespread and the most puzzling. Most of the corals on this reef are acropora, though you wouldn't know it. Their shapes are hugely varied. The most common is the branched version called staghorn that fish use for protection and food. But they can also spread their branches into spectacular flattened plate forms. And exposed to waves, they are stocky and robust. In sheltered deep water, they grow long and slender, reaching for the light. They all look very different, but all these amazing forms are acropora. Their appearance is so variable that it's almost impossible to define exactly which species is which. In fact, corals are deceptive. It's been discovered that they can interbreed. Mass spawning makes interbreeding possible because up to 30 related corals will spawn together. It happens when the sperm from one species fertilizes the egg of one that's closely related. If this happens, a hybrid is produced.